Hello kiddies, your Uncle Spurt here and welcome to another crotch-warmingly pleasant episode of the worst tech news show on this entire god-awful planet. Coming up, a crafty squint at Xiaomi's latest wallet-pleasing pocket rockets, the Redmi Note 14 Pro and Pro Plus, as well as more erectile dysfunction-inducing remarks in viewer comments. But first, some exciting news. Now, your Uncle Spurt's wallet has taken a proper hard kick in these past couple of months, what with moving house and, still being an alcoholic. So I've decided to take inspiration from top YouTube facehole MKBHD and basically nick his idea for a wallpaper app that absolutely rinses his loyal fans for every last shiny penny. Give me a drum roll, Mr. Wanksock. No, go fist yourself, Baldy! Presenting to you the Wallspurt app. Now you too can download premium screen grabs and original Uncle Spurt creations direct to your humble blower to gaze upon adoringly whenever the mood takes you. And this one right here I call a disquieting revelation. As you can see, it features a fan of a certain internet celebrity realizing that in fact the sun does not shine out of their hero's arsehole. I did it last night after a few pints of WKD Blue after I regained the feeling in my arms and my sight came back. And for the Mr. Wanksock fan out there, you can download exclusive papers featuring everyone's favourite crusty foot apparel, as well as limited edition ringtones. Go on, I'm recording already, just say something. Like what? I don't know, just something to let our loyal fans know that their phone's ringing. Alright, how about this then? Oi, some ballbag's calling you. I don't knows why, even your own mum thinks you're a And that right there is Wallspurt, available from the shonkiest app stores as soon as I learn how to actually upload the bastard. TechSpurt Weekly! So our great mates Xiaomi have been busier than a whole barrel full of beavers these past couple of weeks. Not only did they just launch their latest flagshipy-ish phones, the 14T and 14T Pro, out in Berlin, but they also simultaneously thrust out a fresh batch of tasty budget-friendly beefcake blowers over in China. The Redmi Note 14 Pro and Pro Plus are perhaps unsurprisingly successors to the 13 Pro and Pro Plus, which were also unveiled first in China roughly a year ago now, although it took until February 2024 for them to finally roll out globally. And some early web whisperings suggest that the new Note 14 blowers might possibly make it to Blighty before the end of 2024, which would be rather lovely indeed. Although frankly these claims are completely unsubstantiated and probably more bollocks than a testicle pie. But what can we actually expect from Xiaomi's Redmi Note 14 Pro and 14 Pro Plus when they eventually make it to British shores? Well, likely no one's rectum is gonna explode in shock at the news that the Pro and the Pro Plus are both 6.67-inch trouser fillers, the same as many other Redmis before them. Although Xiaomi does reckon it's toughened up the design for this generation, so rather impressively both the Pro and Pro Plus sport a bit of Gorilla Glass Victus 2 up front, while if you spunk up some extra cash for the Pro Plus, you'll also get a Gorilla Glass 7i arse, which apparently is also highly scratch resistant and can survive drops of around a metre onto an asphalt-like surface. So it should be a good one if you like a good few shandies in the evening and occasionally you're known to lose your grip on your blower as you're trying to send lewd pictures to your ex in the gents of your local boozer. Just as a completely random example that I just made up now. And Xiaomi has apparently named this drop-resistant design its King Kong architecture, possibly a flawed bit of naming, given that the infamous oversized ape came a cropper by falling to his death. But both phones are also IP68 water and dust resistant and available in a handful of colours, including a lovely minty green option, which, yes, your Uncle Spurt likes that very much. Now both the Redmi Note 14 Pro and the Pro Plus boast a poppy OLED screen with 1.5K resolution and 120Hz refresh, the same as the previous gen. But the peak brightness has apparently leapt up to a Retina Serum 3000 nits, where you have both HDR10 and Dolby Vision streaming support. So a proper banging bit of premium screen tech that certainly movie and TV fans should absolutely adore. And apparently both of those screens should also work really well, even if they or your hands are particularly moist, which is a highly underrated feature, as also found on the likes of the OnePlus Nord 4. Be especially good if you're desperately trying to send inappropriate WhatsApps to your ex while stumbling home from the boozer in a massive rainstorm. Again, just an imaginary and completely fictional scenario. And Xiaomi has also apparently given these budget-friendly blowers a proper belt up the arse in the performance department. The Redmi Note 14 Pro is powered by MediaTek's Dimensity 7300 Ultra, as also found in Motorola's Edge 50 Neo and the stupidly affordable CMF Phone 1. And I was certainly impressed by how well the Dimensity handled even trouser-fillingly intensive games like Wuthering Waves, so the Note 14 Pro should once again be tops for any gamers. Meanwhile, the brains of the Pro Plus model is Qualcomm's Snapdragon 7S Gen 3, with up to 16 gigs of RAM stuffed in there too. And this is actually the very first smartphone to rock Qualcomm's super fresh new mid-range chipset, so it'll be interesting to see how that one performs, but again, you should expect hot gaming performance. And Pro Plus is also pretty exciting when it comes to the battery tech, as somehow Xiaomi has managed to cram a 6,200 mAh capacity cell in there. Ruddy what? And thankfully it supports 90 watt fast charging, which is just as well, because anything less and it would be just as slow at recharging as a sodden iPhone. As for the Redmi Note 14 Pro, well, that's got a slightly more sane 5,500 mAh capacity battery, should still comfortably last a day, no worries, especially as those Snapdragon chipsets tend to be pretty energy efficient, and the charging caps off at 45 watts with that, slightly less arousing, but again should do the job-ish. And as for the camera tech, well, that'll be completely different depending on your choice of a Redmi handset. You'll get a 50 meg main sensor either way, but it's the popular Sony LYT600 stuffed in the Pro, and the rather dramatically titled Omnivision Light Hunter 800 that you'll find crammed into the Pro Plus. Quite a sizable sensor that again hasn't been used too much, it's only really found in a handful of other Xiaomi blowers. You'll get a telephoto portrait shooter with 2.5 times optical zoom on the Pro Plus, but that is buggered right off for the regular Pro. And you've also got an 8 meg ultra-wide shooter and a 20 meg selfie cam slapped on both. And quite notably, there's bugger all Leica branding for the cameras on this Redmi Note 14 pair, so you can expect fairly regular everyday performance, probably not much more than that. As for the other specs, well, nothing too thrilling. You've got up to 512 gigs of storage on both of them, UFS 3.1 action only on the 512 gig model of the Pro Plus. Yeah, that's about it really. So that in a nutshell is the Redmi Note 14 Pro and 14 Pro Plus, and I am already giddy with excitement. Hopefully us Brits will get our hands on him before Santa squeezes his enormous backside down our chimney holes. But we'll see, are you also excited about the fresh new Redmi Note 14 pair? Be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And now it's time for the part of the show that makes even the normally placid and calm Mr. Wangsock absolutely liquid fury. It's viewer comments. Viewer comments. Even your own mum thinks you're a So let's start this week with Jed Bullet. You read Jed, who says, Uncle Spurt, nice new studio/office. Well, cheers very much. I fear the booze cabinet is a tad on the small size though. You could put your books in the booze cabinet and have a booze shelf instead. An absolutely cracking idea, and yeah, agreed, it's a little bit claustrophobic in that cabinet right now. Most of my booze is still living out in the garage, and I gotta admit, it would be better if it was within easy grasping distance. Baz Anime says, how the heck do you survive without the internet in 2024? You might as well live on an island with a pal called Wilson. I mean, that sounds bloody lovely, as long as I was marooned out there with, you know, a massive vault just full of hard liquor. Either that, or there was some kind of Uber Eats option so I could call out a man in a wee boat to come and restock me with beer and fried chicken. Yeah, it's been a trying couple of weeks, to say the least. We've still got bugger all hot water in our bathroom, but the internet has been the absolute kick in the crotch. I mean, frankly, it's plunged me so deep into despair that a couple of times I've considered jumping in the bath with a toaster. Then it would be an ice cold bath, so f that. Latest internet update is it still isn't f***ing fixed. So yeah, constantly having to schlep over to good old Spoonies and rinse the cloud. Godfrey Lisk says, I completed my move to a new house 3 weeks ago, and I sympathise. Already told my wife that one of us has to die first before we move again. Absolutely, mate. I hope yours has been more successful and exactly the same. They'll have to carry me out of here in a wooden f***ing box. Alex Denton says, Maggie Smith just passed away. That's sad. I'm going to bring down the Amos. Alex, just 3 f***ing comments in, mate. But absolutely safe travels, Dame Mags. Yeah, I bet she would have been cracking company sharing a few whiskies with late at night. We have some banging stories from all of her acting shenanigans throughout the ages. Now, last week's episode, of course, was my completely pointless review of the iPhone 16 Pro Max, so of course, naturally, we've had plenty of correspondence on the topic in last week's comments. So SF Sen says he definitely likes the phone the same way I like my girlfriend's cooking. I'm hoping for the sake of your soft and danglies that she isn't watching this, mate. What am I saying? No one's watching this shower of shit. Jason McMeekin says, Uncle Spurt, you spent all that money on the iPhone. Please tell me you can get a refund or just give it to Auntie Spurt. You might get some points in her good book, which you definitely need. I'm not going to lie, it's 100% going back once I've done all the review comparison bollocks that I have to do with it. And then all that money that I recover will inevitably be reinvested in Wetherspoon's pints for the foreseeable future until this bloody internet sorted. To be fair, the cost of the iPhone and the cost of a Wetherspoon's pint, that'll probably keep me going for the best part of a decade. Ravens Claude says, Tim Cook is currently stabbing an Uncle Spurt lookalike doll with knitting needles. And you could probably just get a One Punch Man action figure and just slightly melt it a bit, and that'll be a close enough likeness. But, you know, as long as he's stabbing a doll and not actually me, that's fine. Sean Burns says, was that front-facing video filmed with the Pro Max? It was very shaky with poor audio. Yeah, 100% filmed with the iPhone 16 Pro Max and completely unedited, apart from cutting out the bits where I forgot what I was actually talking about, or the 4.5 minutes where I spent scraping dog shit off the bottom of my shoe. Speaking of which, the Pieman66 says, to be totally honest, Mr. Spurt, I'd have much rather watched a review of the dog turd that you stepped in than that bag of overpriced shit from Apple. I can review the turd for you right now, sir, if you're intrigued. It was surprisingly clingy, highly twig resistant, and also still somehow remarkably better at finding a mobile data signal than the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Johnny Roberts Jr. says, watching from a Pixel 9 Pro, couldn't be happier. Snap, sir. Honestly, this thing compared with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, it's like a fresh breath of seaside air after being trapped in Milton Keynes. This won't end well says, I'm not buying an iPhone 16 just because of the 15-minute long adverts they're bunging in the middle of YouTube videos. I'm not even really sure why Apple bothers to do any advertising. Surely people who are going to buy the iPhone 16 Pro Max know that they're just going to buy the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and people who aren't going to buy it are going to actually do their research and find a phone that's good for them. And CW Napier says, I'm an Apple fan but think you were kind on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This is the worst upgrade since the 10 to the 10S. Even Apple fan channels have 100% agreed with your assessment of the camera control button. God damn, that thing is frickin' worthless. Apple has gotten more greedy than ever and more lazy. How on earth do you market a phone with AI that has no AI? Yeah, it's basically like me saying that this channel has excellent production values and proper top quality jokes. And then in small print somewhere at the bottom, coming in the future, maybe. Irons WHU says, I thought the charge speeds were upped this year, 25 watt MagSafe and 45 watt wired. That's better than your beloved S24U. Research is your friend, Spurt. Also, you keep whittering on about the size, but it's again the same size as that ridiculous slab you love so much. Oh, I did my research, fella, and let me tell you, neither myself nor any of the other tech guys who I regularly see who've got an iPhone 16 Pro Max can get that thing to charge any faster than sort of low 30s at best. Usual speed is 27. We've tried Apple chargers, we've tried Anker chargers, like the best kit out there. So it seems to be that that whole boost to the wired charging speed rumor is just as fictional as Apple intelligence. A slab that I love so much, I'm assuming you're referring to the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, which I've clearly said in my review is just as unwieldy and uncomfortable to clutch as the bloody iPhone. And it's also stupidly expensive as well, beyond most people's actual requirements. In fact, I didn't actually give it a single award in my best phones of 2024 so far clickbait shenanigans. Favorite phone right now, absolutely 100% the Pixel 9 Pro. Feels real good in the hand, just like your ma. And still the iPhone comments keep on coming. GavTom86 says, sorry Chris, but I felt that there were a few too many compliments in your iPhone review. Sorry, I think the jolly wee saunter through Berlin's charming backstreets just had me in a really nice mood. I'll try and get proper raged up before my 17 Pro Max review, dear God. Rango Django says, can't stand iPhones, yet I still found myself watching the whole bloody 16 Pro Max segment. This channel really is a load of bollocks. Nice to see you out and about though, Mr. Spurt. Thanks, buddy. Anyway, that is absolutely enough iPhone chat for now. I only just got the bad taste out of my mouth from last week. And last couple of comments, because I'm massively out of time. So Erong says, you must repair Wang sock. Yeah, got to admit, it is slightly disconcerting having your one eye winking at me like that.
Now I'll bloody sort it out then, you lazy tit.
And don't worry, old chum, I think I've got just the thing.
Ah, what the bloody hell is this?
It's a fried egg from one of my daughter's play sets. What do you reckon?
Ah, looks like I've got a bloody nipple sticking out of my face.
Yeah, I think it really suits you. Job done. And last up, Conroe82 says, talking sock is a cry for help. Very possibly correct, although others have said that it's actually the best part of the show, and some have even said get rid of the ugly bald twat and replace him full time with the talking sock, which is a real morale booster. Anyway, a massive thank you to everyone who commented last week, especially those who actually watched the whole of my iPhone 16 Pro Max review, you crazy morphos. Please do smash your comments down in the little chatty box thing beneath my talking face, and you will try and merrily prance away through as much of that bollocks as possible next week. And speaking of next week, next week, what the f is next week? Well, fans will know that I already compared the iPhone 16 Pro Max to the Galaxy S24 Ultra this week. Bit of a one-sided competition, which no doubt will please Mr. Money Pants from earlier. Well, next week I'm planning yet another iPhone comparison, but to make it a bit fairer on Apple, this time I'll be comparing it to a £300 Android smartphone. Still gonna be pretty bloody tight. A few more bits lined up as well, including a couple more best of roundup updates. So massive thanks again for actually watching this shower of shit to the bitter end. Have yourselves a bloody marvellous weekend. I'll see you on the flip side. Cheers everyone, love you!